Now in example 3, we're kind of going to go backwards from example 2. In example 2, we were given equations and matched it to its graph. This time we're starting with the graph and I am writing the equation from scratch. So example 3 says given the graph, write the equation. So the first thing you need to know is what is the key graph? What is the basic function if it's not shifted up, down, left, or right, reflected, or stretched or compressed? So in part A, when I have this V right here, that is your absolute value. So this is the Y equals the absolute value of X. Now, typically, when I have the absolute value of X and it is not being shifted in any direction, that V, oh, and that's a bad drawing. Okay, let's start over. That V is going to be right there in the origin. Okay. So now that I have this graph here, now my V is way over here. So how has that been shifted? From that origin, it has been shifted how many units down? And that is actually 4. If you notice this graph, it's kind of hard to tell, but that's a 2, that's a 4, and then a 6. So if these went by ones, this would be 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So they're not going by ones. So this is 1/2, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. These are all going by halves. So this one is going down 1, 2, 3, 4 units right there. And then how many units is it going to the left? And that is left 1 unit. Okay. So I'm going to have Y equals the absolute value. If it is going down 4, down means minus, and that's outside of my function. So we'll have a minus 4 on the outside. And then going to the left is inside my function and positive. So left 1 is a plus 1. Here is my equation. Right, trying again over here. What is the most basic key function that this graph is? And this one is your square root of X. Okay, call this one your eyebrow function. So when we graph these, it starts also here at the origin, and then it goes on forever. So if it started at the origin and now it is up here for the starting point, how are we moving? So how many units to the left are we going? And it looks like 1, 2, 3 units. And then it's moving up 1, 2 units. So we're going to have Y equals to the left is inside and it's going to be positive. So this would be the square root of X plus 3. And then up 2 units. Up is outside and it is positive. So plus 2. So start with the basic and figure out how it has been shifted. These will most likely just be shifted left or right or reflected across the X. And I don't have an example of it reflecting across the X, but for example, if I look at our last page here, if you look at like B, these parabolas here should be opening up. So when it is going upside down, it means that there's a negative out front. So if this V instead is this way, then that would need a negative out in the very front. If this, instead of going here and kind of going up positive, if it started somewhere and went down like this, then that would be the negative square root of X. So I don't have any examples of when it's been reflected across the X, but just kind of keep in mind, if these things have been flipped across that X, so they're upside down, instead of it being an open V, it's a down V. Instead of it going up, it's going down. You need your negatives. Instead of your parabola opening up, it's opening down. I think those are the three that they flip the most. So just be aware of that, since I don't have any examples of that.